Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Brian Terrian here from the Disability Digest with Philip and Jam for our Wednesday YouTube live event.
Hi,
Phil,
everyone.
hello,
Good
hello.
afternoon.
I think your audio is muted, Philip, but I read what you said and it sounded like hi.
Hello, everybody.
There it is. There it is. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining again. This is Brian Terrian. Welcome to the Disability Digest Wednesday YouTube live event. Today, we plan on having a special show for you, but we're having some technology issues with our guest speaker. So I think she's just arrived. So just one moment, if you would, and we're going to see if we have our technology sorted out.
Brian,
Yes, Sissy, you are
it's
on live
Sissy.
and we can hear you.
I'm so sorry.
For what?
But I can't get online here.
Well, what are you calling in on? Just the phone?
The telephone, yeah.
Oh, well, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Unfortunately, people aren't going to be able to see you, but
Yeah, I'm trying to reboot my computer as we speak, so we'll see what happens as we go.
okay. You've got enough social media out there that if people really, really, really want to find out what you look like, they'll track you down.
Awesome.
So thanks for
Well,
joining. We were just doing a quick intro and we were about ready to improvise, but I'm so glad you were able to make it.
me too. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. So for everybody listening out there, Sissy Boer has joined us. Sissy has been a member here at the Disability Digest, I don't know, for a long time.
Oh, yeah, many years.
Many years. And we're delighted to have Sissy with us today because she's going to share some nuggets of information about the approval process that she went through with the Disability Digest. But in your new life, you have transitioned into helping people with travel and you specialize in working with people with limitations and disabilities, which is right in our wheelhouse. So we're excited
Yes.
to talk about that.
Yes, thank you.
So if you're new out there, we encourage you to subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned in so you can enjoy this event and others. So what we're going to cover today, in addition to your story that we're anxious to revisit, is like how you ended up in the travel business, what's going on in travel. Like I'm sure there's some challenges, and I'd love to hear personally about destinations, like what are the top destinations for people that have limitations and disabilities to travel to. And as I expect, you're aware there's some budget concerns with our audience. As a lot of them are on fixed income and travel and safety and support and other things like that. So that's what we have on tap.
Okay.
You ready to roll?
Awesome.
You
I
sitting
am.
down and you standing up, or we don't
I am. You sit down, you stand up, you got to do all of those things when you're disabled, like many of us are,
Yeah, yeah. So let's start with this. If you could share with those out there, like your disability approval process, you know, how how it started, how you got approved, any tips that you might have for the audience out there. People are always interested to learn about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a very tough process, as we all know. So I started the process initially on my own, like so many people do. And when you get that stack of paperwork in the mail, it's very overwhelming. So you start reading through all the questions, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what the heck are all these questions? So I started doing some research online and came across the Disability Digest, and I was like, oh my goodness, this company seems so great. So I filled out that online form that you have, and you guys got in touch with me. So I started working with you, and your team paired me up with a fabulous lawyer in my area, and he was wonderful. And thankfully, I was lucky enough to get approved on my first shot, and I don't know how that happened, but I was so lucky. And my biggest tip for others was just not to try to do it yourself. You need to have a lawyer. The questions on those papers are so tricky. I thought anyway. They ask the same question over and over, and you have to be so precise with your wording. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on getting approved. About how
Thank
many years
you.
have you been approved?
I'm going on 11.
11. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. So from the approval process, roll us forward. How'd you end up in the travel business?
This is a funny story. I am an avid cruiser and I have a travel agent. And it was just when COVID was starting, and I wanted to go on vacation somewhere, and everything was shut down. And I said to her, please, there has to be somewhere I can go. And she said, Sissy, everything's closed down. The cruise business is shut. And I said, just please send me somewhere. So she said, well, Mexico is the only place you can go, to an all-inclusive resort. And I had never been. So I said, you know what? Book it. Send me there. So me and my husband, AJ, we go, and this resort was absolutely beautiful. And I am a big social media person, as you know. I'm always posting or vlogging or doing something. And since it was my first time in an all-inclusive resort, I was doing my Facebook Live like a mad person. And it caught the attention of my travel agent, and she had sent it to her franchise owner. And before we even left Mexico, we were signed with Expedia Cruises in South Tampa as a travel agent. And actually, before I left that resort, I had booked my first trip as a travel agent. And it just took off from there because I have such a passion for travel, for cruising actually at that point. But I learned that I actually love all-inclusives also. And it just took off because I love to plan and research for all of my friends and family. So, and it's always something I wanted to do. So I just went for it, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. I mean, they say find something that you love to do and then figure out how to make some money at it. It's like
That's
textbook,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. That's cool. Then it's probably just easy for you to do. I'm sure there's some,
Yeah.
you know, you know, uh, probably not so much for you, but I'm sure there's challenges that you face and others face in the travel industry that you've got to deal with, like in planning a trip with the physical and the
Oh,
mental
absolutely.
pieces. What are some of those that
Yeah.
maybe people are aware of out there that are listening? Maybe they're not. Who knows? But yeah, let's
Well,
talk
yeah.
about
Well,
those.
I had some of my own because when I was first diagnosed, and I know you guys can't see me right now, but looking at me today, you would never know that I am disabled. And a lot of us have those invisible diseases. But when I was first diagnosed, I was bedridden, and I wasn't able to take care of myself. AJ had to do everything for me. He had to feed me and bathe me and all that stuff. So I was in
Gosh.
a scooter. Yeah. But I still wanted to travel, right? We all want to do that. So I had to, one of the biggest challenges was you have to find, like, will your scooter fit in a car? Is your hotel big enough for your scooter to fit? I love cruising, so was I able to rent a scooter or a wheelchair? If I went to a resort or a hotel, is there high curbs, stairs or escalators? These are all things that a normal person that doesn't have a disability doesn't really have to think about. Other things like if you have a service animal or oxygen, and to plan these things all weighs on you mentally. So this is a big reason why I started using a travel agent.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, they can
Yeah.
hopefully. And how do they do? I mean, are they able to eliminate the concerns? They get it right?
Oh, 99% of the time. Like I said, that's why Jenny, who was my travel agent who got me into the business, she was
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I don't want to have to worry about these things. So she took a lot of that off my plate.
Yeah. It's I just extend that a little bit further. Like, my mother is 91 and have some travel that we're setting up for her, and she can get around pretty good, but still, these very
Mhm.
things are on on our mind. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so cool. Um, so for travel, do you have any tips on destinations? Like, let's start domestically. Are there some places that are more travel friendly for those that have those challenges that you just mentioned than others, Sissy?
Oh, absolutely. Especially here in the U.S., the one of my favorite places to go is the Virgin Islands, not just because they're so gorgeous and the waters are blue and the beaches are sands are white, but and Puerto Rico, but they have to comply with the Americans with Disability Acts. So you will find elevators and ramps and low curbs almost everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is a huge disabled friendly destination.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, D.C. has very wide sidewalks, and their metro
Mm-hmm.
has elevators in every stop. So no matter where you get off. And they also have a lot of people at their stops that will help, that are standing there waiting and will help people get on and off the metro. Um, and one of the
Really?
biggest places I found, yes, and one of the biggest places I found through the help of my travel agent is www.miusa.org, which is the Mobility International. They have lists there for more information on this very subject, where you can find places that cater to disabled travelers.
I'm going to put it up on the screen here for those. It's MIUSA. Okay,
.org.
great.
Yeah.
.org. Yeah, I see the donate button. Okay,
Hmm.
nice, nice. For those of you just tuning in out there, welcome. We have a special guest, Sissy Boyer, with us here today, and we're discussing travel options. We're just getting into some of the ideal destinations. So welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, all right. So that can help people understand like destination wise, like where to go and what may be beneficial for them. What about like the concept of travel, Sissy, specifically like going in a group versus going private? Let's start with that.
Okay. Um, it's very, very hard for disabled people, as we know. If you need mobility assistance, I would definitely say private is the way to go,
Mm-hmm.
just because if we have devices, um, you have to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that transportation has room for your mobility devices that you have. Um, on the same hand, there's lots of great disability groups that can offer discounted travel. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
something that's a issue for you, that's something to look into as well.
Okay, good. And you mentioned at the top of the conversation that you're a fan of cruises. Tell us more
Absolutely.
about that. Why?
Oh my gosh. Even before I was disabled, I loved cruising, and you will see I talk about this all the time, but especially after I became disabled, I found that cruising is amazing when comes to disabled people.
Mm-hmm.
They will go above and beyond for you. You can bring service dog, sorry, on cruise lines,
Mm-hmm.
which was amazing to me. They have places for the dogs to go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
The
That would
larger
help.
ships have, I know, I just couldn't believe that when, I don't know, I saw a dog walking on the ship and I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the larger ships have tons of room for scooters and wheelchairs to get by. And I found that passengers are very kind and let you get through. They provide extension cords for oxygen and CPAP machines. Like I said, before, you can rent a scooter or wheelchair or any mobility device, and it's waiting for you in your cabin when you get on board. They offer pre-boarding, wheelchair assistance. They have dietary issue. If you have dietary issues, they'll help you there. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that they won't do. They hardly ever say no to anything that I've ever asked for my
Wow.
disabled passengers. So it's just amazing.
What about the room setup? Is there enough room I expect to navigate like with mobility devices? Is that easy?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even if you get a balcony cabin in the accessible rooms, there's enough room on the balcony for you to go out there. So it's amazing.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. So cruises, you'd highly recommend cruises. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Can't say enough about it.
what I also like about that is, I mean, you can blend in if you have mobility limitations. I expect you could blend in pretty easily.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about international travel? Could you recommend some destinations that you would say are disability friendly, disability travel friendly?
This is another of my favorites. And I actually just came back recently. Germany is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Their public spaces are very friendly. They have they're very wheelchair friendly.
Mm-hmm.
They have, again, ramps and wide doorways. The Netherlands is one of the most disabled friendly countries.
Interesting.
They have their buses, the trams all have ramps, and their government has recently just emphasized that every new building that they build must be wheelchair accessible, which is huge.
And this is Amsterdam? Like,
Yeah, the Netherlands. Yeah.
huh. I haven't been there in a while.
Yes.
I remember it as tight cobbled streets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh.
And again, their sidewalks are wide and flat. So
Yep.
that's huge for wheelchairs and stuff.
Yep.
Again, my travel agent, Jenny, always sent me to www.accessibletourism.com. They're huge for international travel where you can find out where is more accessible for you.
Okay, you did a great job in advance of setting us up with this information. So I'm going to put this
Thank
up on
you.
the screen. The links covered in this show, everybody, will be posted in the description with on the YouTube video. So what was this again? It is accessibletourism.com.
Tourism.com, correct.
Okay. Yeah. And again, for those of you that are here and joining, we are going to take some questions. You can actually, you'll be able to call in and speak with us, ask a travel related question to Sissy. I don't think you're going to be in a position to quote travel. It's just really more the concept of travel. So you'll have the opportunity to do that in a few minutes. And I see there's already some questions that are in the chat. So good.
Awesome.
Wow, we're covering a lot here. And
Such a fun topic.
isn't it? Yeah, it really is. I'm actually in the process. I've got to leave early today. My son is in Spain and I'm going over to see him. So I'll be spending
Awesome.
2.5 weeks there. Quick side note, one of the things that I found is that I need to have an international driver's permit to drive. I don't know if you've
Yes.
run into
Yes.
that before. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
the budget considerations, like, living on a fixed income, some people might be out there like, oh, I can't travel. I mean, can you speak to that? Like, are there ways for people to do it? Creative deals that's out there?
You're going to be shocked by what I have to say.
Can't wait.
Cruising. Cruising.
Cruising.
Cruising.
Cruising is the deal.
You get the best for your value in cruising. It's one of the most inexpensive, best vacations, in my opinion, for anyone, not just the disabled. Most people think it's expensive, but it really is the most inexpensive. And like I said, they will go out of their way to accommodate every disability. But you just have to make sure to let your travel professional know of anything beforehand that you need, because we will get in touch with them and tell them anything that you need beforehand, so you don't have to stress about anything.
Yep. So for those, like, our audience is all over the U.S., but are there certain cruises that would fall into like your top tier of recommendations, like, the Bahamas or Bermuda, or I don't know, they cruise off the West Coast? I expect they do. I just don't know about it. You
Oh
have
yeah,
any?
you can cruise out of anywhere. Uh, Recently I was just at a Fort Lauderdale that they built a brand new port there. It was amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
I had just broken my ankle and I was on a knee scooter for the
Oh.
entire time I was on the cruise. So it was difficult for me to get around, but it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get help on and off the cruise. I was first on, first off, so they were amazing. And that was with Celebrity Cruises.
Okay.
So they were amazing with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have everything there, right? You have your lodging, your food, your entertainment,
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got a pool and games, and
yeah.
so
And the pools do have lifts if you need those. They're there
okay.
for you. They will, yeah, they'll help you on and off. So I mean, like I said, everything is really there. You unpack
Okay.
once, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's just great.
Um, what are some of the like let's let's talk safety. Like, what are some of the concerns, the tips for ensuring people's safety? I mean, like the standard stuff, not people like, doing stupid stuff. Just basic, any tips for just basic smart traveling?
Well, first of all, always be aware of your surroundings. We all need to do that. That's just anywhere you are. Um,
Yeah.
but as far as traveling, you always want to pre-prepare. That's the most important thing I always tell people. Disabled or not disabled, that's the most important.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
Mm-hmm.
are are disabled, you want to call, make an appointment with your doctor at least a month or so before you travel, especially if you're going international, because they'll let you know of any vaccines or medications that might be required, especially for your particular illness.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to make sure that they know your full itinerary so they know exactly where you're going and any activities that you might have planned.
Good
There's
idea.
also something that you can enroll in. It's called the Department of State's Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, or STEP, STEP.
Okay.
Um, you can check for any or monitor any travel advisories there, or you can depend on your travel advisor for that. But
Mm-hmm.
this also ensures that the Department of State knows where you are should you have any medical, legal, or financial difficulties while traveling. And
Hmm.
they'll even help your friends and family get in contact with you in the event of an emergency. So that's always a great thing.
That sounds
But
really
one of
good.
the most important things is to always, always, always carry your medical information, including any medications that you take,
Yep.
your in case of an emergency person, very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, that's good. And so I'm thinking about, okay, go on a cruise, you fly into Fort Lauderdale. There's got to be some other steps that where advice could be helpful for others, because you're not going to get right on the cruise right away. So you need some transportation, perhaps some
Mhm.
accommodations prior. Anything in that area that you can extend that would be of value, Sissy?
Especially for cruising, I always tell people go the day before
Uh-huh.
for a cruise, because you don't want to depend on air travel to get you
Mm,
there in time, because the cruise will not wait for you. So
yeah,
that's important.
yeah.
But again, if you're going in the day before, make sure your travel advisor knows that you are disabled so they can make
Mm-hmm.
plans to get you assisted on the flight, get you
Mm-hmm.
the correct room for your hotel the day before. Um, Make sure your transportation knows that you're disabled so there's room on the vehicle for your assisted devices if you have one.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff is important that they know ahead of time.
Okay. Okay. Um, that's really good. This next question makes me think of one of our coworkers here, Daphne, um, regarding travel insurance.
Hmm.
And I'll let you express yours, and then Philip and Jam, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. As a matter, well, I'd love to hear your position on travel insurance first.
Always, 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 always get travel insurance. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to state I'm not an insurance agent, so I don't want to speak too much on the specific details of a policy.
Mm-hmm.
But as a travel agent, I always have to offer it. But I want to tell you a story about a client that refused to purchase insurance from me. There was a group of like 15, I think it was 15 or so, 15 to 19 group of them that were going to Mexico. They were from Utah and they were going to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. And this is the same resort that I went to during COVID. I highly suggested it to them. So they decided to go. They were there. They were just a few days from coming home from their trip when I received a call from the son saying that his mother had slipped and fell in the bathroom, coming out of the shower and hit her head.
Ooh.
He was freaking out, as you can imagine. And he said that she was in the ER and she was not doing well. So I didn't know what that meant, but he said that they needed to get a hotel for him and his father near the hospital while the others flew home. So I was thankful that he had me to call so I can take care of all this for him so he wouldn't have to stress about it.
Mm-hmm.
But his mother ended up in the ICU in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So the family members that stayed had to get an Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
and the mother eventually had to fly home via medevac from Mexico to Utah, and they had
Oh
no
my
travel
God.
insurance.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
And I don't know if you all know, but hospitals in Mexico only take cash,
Mm-hmm.
no credit cards, and your regular insurance is not taken out of the country. So you can only imagine the bills, especially the bill just for the medevac, not including the hotel, the hospital.
I gotta say hundreds of thousands.
I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't imagine. It's just crazy. And when you're on vacation, you don't, my tip, what I always say, if you're paying tens of thousands of dollars for a vacation for 19 or 20 of your family,
Yeah.
what's an extra couple of $100 for travel insurance?
Yeah. 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 No, that's strikingly similar to the experience that Daphne had that works here. A few
Mm-hmm.
differences is Daphne is an insurance agent, but
Oh, no.
she did not get travel insurance. She went on a cruise and she had a major medical event. I'm trying to remember, was that a heart attack? I think it was.
Yeah, it was a heart attack.
She had a heart attack. And so she had to be
Oh,
airlifted
no.
off the cruise ship to a Caribbean island that I will not name. But in order
Mm-hmm.
to be treated, they needed cash and a lot
Yes.
of it. And
Yes.
then after she was there for a few days, in order to leave the hospital, they needed some more cash.
Mm-hmm.
So Daphne just left today for a cruise, and I told her 3 times before she went to get travel insurance, and I know that she did this time.
Thank goodness. Now, can I just change? I want to interject something really quick while you are on this subject. Should something like this happen, I don't know if people know, you do not need to have a passport to go on a cruise. But highly recommend it, because just in Daphne's case, should something happen like that, where she had to be medevaced from a different country, if she
Mhm.
did not have a passport, she would not be able to get back home.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
So, yeah, a lot of people just travel with their driver's license and their birth certificate. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
not a good idea to do that.
Yeah. I purchased my travel insurance through United Healthcare, but I'm sure there's others that offer it. And let's see, I traveled last year for that was like 6 weeks. No, it wasn't. It was like 4.5 weeks, and it was like $185 for, I think, 750,000. Something, it might be slightly off in the numbers, but it's not a lot of money for travel
No,
insurance.
not at all.
No.
Mm-mm.
So definitely we're spending a lot of time on it, but I actually feel it's like it could totally, not just wreck a vacation, it can devastate somebody financially.
Absolutely. And you wouldn't drive a car without car insurance.
No, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other like things that might make trips safer, better, easier technology, apps, anything like that that's out there that would be helpful for people to know?
A great one that I love is Be My Eyes for the visually impaired. I'm actually a volunteer for this app. It connects you with a sighted volunteer via video chat, and they help you
Really?
negotiate unfamiliar surroundings. Yes, you just download it. I'm always connected to it, so my phone will ring. It has a little special ring to it, and it connects you to the visually impaired, and they'll just connect their phone, their video to you, and you can help them around, like if they're on the street or in their even if it's somebody else's house, it'll help them around their surroundings, and I love that.
That is
Um,
this, I don't
isn't that
know.
cool?
Yeah, yeah, Be My Eye. So I've got it up on the screen here.
Yeah,
Um, wow. And are you always able to get somebody because there's volunteers behind it?
yes,
Is it?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I even had somebody just connect me one day and say, "Can you tell me if my water is boiling?" Just even something silly that would be silly to the sighted, but she
And
didn't know if her water was boiling.
so, and how do you connect? Like, do you just log in and then somebody pops up and you don't know what the instance is going to be?
Correct. Yep. And I'm always logged in. So my phone will just, it has a different ring than my normal ring. And I'll
Wow.
know that's what that is.
I
Yeah.
had not heard of this. Philip, have you heard of
Yeah.
this?
I love that.
I haven't heard of it, but I'll sure try it. 'Cause I get out in the public and get lost at
Yeah.
work, and I don't,
Yeah. That's a great one.
my biggest problem is surrounding and recognizing, uh, landmarks and stuff like that. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. I've had somebody ask me that. Like, is it even if this, have I been here? Is this where I came from? Can you tell me if this is where I was?
Right.
Is that a stop sign or a yield sign?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had all
Right.
kinds of calls.
Is there any screening so that like the people on the other end are like legitimately in need, or you're not getting some guy who's, been 10 hours at the pub and can't see?
That I don't know. They don't tell
Yeah.
us that.
All right. All right. Well,
But
those could be fun calls
there's
too. Yeah.
also ones for hearing impaired called Dragon Dictation. This
Mm.
is a speech to text mobile app, and I know a lot of us have those anyway on our phones, but I
Yep.
think this one is more in depth than the ones that we have on our phones. So I kind of
Okay.
like that one.
Okay.
And then there's one called Wheelmate, WHEELMATE. And that helps you find wheelchair accessible toilets and parking, which I feel is very helpful.
Okay. Really good, Sissy. This is great. So we've
Thank you.
kind of bounced around a little bit, but as we get ready to wrap up and take some questions, if we can have you hang out for a few minutes longer, you have
Sure.
some highlights, joys of traveling that you've experienced with all of this knowledge that may inspire some people to take action that maybe wouldn't?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. And again, I'm going to go back to my cruising.
You're
We just
welcome to.
had, I work with Expedia Cruises out of South Tampa, like I said, and we just held our first Legends of Baseball cruise on Celebrity Apex. And we had a lot of disabled passengers as part of our event. And we held our autograph session on stage, which looking back was probably not the best place to hold it. I didn't think we realized as many disabled people were going to be part of our event.
Mm-hmm.
But what the staff didn't do or wouldn't do to make sure those passengers didn't miss any event that we held just amazed me. And we had younger folks, older folks, because we had some older players and younger players.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see the smiles on their faces warmed my heart, and just I was sitting there in awe. Like, I could not believe what that cruise line in particular did for those people. It just amazed me. Yeah.
So can you
I
hit
was,
me
and
with a
like
few
I did.
names of the legends that were there?
Oh my God, we had Ron Bloomberg, El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Nelson, Mickey Rivers,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Kay. They were just amazing, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but I thought this cruise was just going to be like, get your signature and be on your way.
Mm-hmm.
These legends hung out with you at the pool. Oswaldo Cabrera was there. He was in the pool with me, like I said. They hung out with you at the clubs, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just amazing. It was an amazing thing for even all the disabled people that were there. It was just great for them to hang out and get autographs with them people. So Celebrity
Yeah.
did a great job.
Wow. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, you see anything that could, or anything that could like help the industry improve or, be more inclusive, accommodating to travels? It's not like probably like trying to change the Social Security world, but I'm just curious, like
Oh, I'm
anything that
sure.
you see that could be done better or is being done better?
My biggest issue being a travel advisor is that I find that there's not enough accommodations for the accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I get somebody that says I need accessible accommodations, when I call or I try to book a cruise, there's not enough accessible
Oh,
accommodations. It's
so it's
just
in
not enough.
demand. Huh.
Very high. So they sell out fast. So if you're plan high way in advance.
So
People with mobility issues alone spend over $58 billion a year on travel. So
really,
that's crazy to me. So to
huh.
not have that accommodations for that amount of money is just crazy.
Any like on a typical cruise ship, any idea what percentage is allocated?
I do not know. I wouldn't even want to guess because I don't want to. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
just
more
crazy, and there's
accessibility.
tons. Yeah, yeah. It's just growing so fast that it's cruising is the number one choice of accessible travel for people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Makes me think I'll get my mother on a cruise.
you would
Um,
love it.
yeah, this has been wonderful. So we're gonna take some questions in a few minutes. Actually, you can enter your questions in the chat for Sissy, ideally for travel, anything travel related. So Sissy, Philip is monitoring Facebook group,
Hmm.
and Jam, who I didn't properly introduce you, I don't believe. This is Jam, who is here. Oh, you can't see us, can
Hi,
you?
Sissy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Uh, Jam is amazing. She helps out with these events. So does Philip. So they're monitoring different channels for questions. So we'll take those in a minute. And I just was going to, oh,
Absolutely.
this is what I want to do. So for those of you that are listening out there, I want to share with you now how you could contact Sissy. And I'm going to, okay, if I share your phone number.
Sure.
Yeah, so Sissy's contact information is in the description, in the video description, but I'm going to share your website. I'll put it up on the screen here. Um, and oh, your phone number is right on the website. How about that? So
Yep.
it's 412-221-1940. So you can just call that. Looks like you can do some reconnaissance in advance, and that's 412-221-1940. So travel agent's similar to insurance, right? That's just built into the the pricing. Is that right?
The insurance?
No, like if somebody booked
Oh, you mean, yeah, there's no charge to use a travel agent. No.
yeah, so it's like the like using an insurance agent. So if you can use like for extra assistance, like I've used an agent for years to book travel, just as peaceful, easy. And I've
Mm-hmm.
screwed it up enough on my own to know better. So so that's it. All right, so let's do this. Do you have specific questions, Jam? I'll start with you that are in that have been sent in.
Yes, for Sissy. Somebody asked if you have been reviewed then.
Oh, have your
Mm-hmm.
benefits been reviewed, Sissy?
On my Facebook page, yes.
So how did they, like Social Security sent you a continuing disability
Oh,
review?
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I have been my benefits. Yes, they have.
Okay,
Three times.
three
And
times.
actually, I just got I just got a letter in the mail stating just 2 weeks ago that they did not have to be reviewed this time.
Okay, yeah, so it's probably a 3-year review. You've been on it for 11 years, something like that. Does that
Yeah.
sound right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, there was a poll, Jam. Would you read the results of read the question off and then the results of the poll? This might be interesting for just general
Yeah.
knowledge for everybody.
The poll is how frequently do you travel? We have 46 votes. 11% frequently, occasionally 26%, rarely 22%, and never traveled with disability 40%.
Wow.
All right.
Hmm.
All right. That's great. Thanks for participating in
Mhm.
that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
interesting.
Okay. Philip, how about you? Anything going on over there?
No travel related question. No.
Okay. All right. Jam, any others on your side?
Yes, here's a question. Can we type the apps on the chat that she mentioned?
Yeah, I can. I can put them. Yeah.
Okay. And somebody asked about travel insurance. Is Medivac covered?
It
Mm,
can be, it cannot be. Just make sure that when you purchase it, that's part of, it's called evacuation coverage. To make sure that's part of your policy.
okay.
Mhm. And also, would traveling be considered a red flag with Social Security? Would they say if one can travel, one can work?
I wouldn't know that as an answer, but in my personal experience, it has not been an issue.
I could speak to that. So the criteria for engaging in activity, the general rule is if you're working more than 20 hours a week, then you're engaged in activity. So that's one. If you're earning more than $1,150 a month, then that would be another one. So if you're traveling, it doesn't check any of those boxes, but what could be detrimental to you, and we talked about this just last week, is if you are approved for disability for, say, spinal stenosis and arthritis, and you've got some physical challenges, and you go on a bicycle tour through Europe, and you're reporting the whole thing, that's a big red flag. So
Absolutely.
you just have to be conscious about being in line with what your conditions are. Yeah.
And the activities that you're doing.
And the activities, and you're allowed to work and supplement your income. And in Sissy's case, it's a beautiful thing because when you travel, it's part of your work. It's part of your,
Yeah.
your business, your expense, and what you do. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
cool.
And I am working from home, just so you know. I'm not in a brick and mortar.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have any others?
Yes. How about the exact days that you can be out of the States, Brian, while on disability?
I haven't looked at this in a bit, but I want to say there's a 6-month limit that you're allowed to be outside of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I am 92.6% certain that's it, but a quick Google search would help you do that.
I
Just
think
say
that's
I'm a
correct.
Social Security disability recipient. How long can I be outside of the U.S.? Yeah. hmm Actually, it's an interesting question. Do you have people that like want to go like on extended like stays to live places? Do you get that type of inquiry?
Mexico, yeah, huge.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
There's a lot of people from the U.S. that are looking to move to Mexico, actually. So that's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, here's a viewer here. Jammer, may I live in the Philippines or Panama on SSDI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jam, I hope you don't feel left out on this because Jam is from the Philippines, Sissy, and that hasn't been reported on one of the top travel destinations. Although
Oh, sorry.
I will speak
That's
out.
fine.
I went and visited Jam and others last year and had an amazing time. I knew they were wonderful people, but it was a really good and affordable trip once you get there.
Affordable, yes. I was going to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, getting there, you have to get the flights right.
Hmm.
So did I miss a question? Was there something else that was asked?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Um, I usually open up the phones, but in respect of time, and we've taken all the travel related questions, I am not going to for this event today, but we will do that again next week when we're back. So for those of you that are out there, I want to thank you for tuning in, listening to all of these wonderful travel tips. And just one more time so that everybody knows how to contact Sissy to learn more about travel of any type. The number is up on the screen, 412-221-1940, right?
Yep.
Any closing thoughts, suggestions, comments? Go travel. I've got my,
Go travel. Yeah, my biggest thing, don't be afraid. I have a mother-in-law that's on oxygen and she thought she couldn't travel due to that, and big misconceptions. Just ask questions. Don't be afraid to travel. Get out there and enjoy your life. Your disability does not define you, so go have fun.
I love it.
Yeah. Come to
Yeah.
Dubai, everyone.
That's right.
Come and visit me.
Yes, that's
I'm
right.
coming.
That's right. Yeah, the barriers, that's really what it's all about. I mean, understand what they are and then go about addressing them, and then you can move on your way.
That's right.
It's not just with travel, but in many other parts of this work that we do here. So,
Absolutely.
Sissy, I'm super grateful for you coming out here and sharing all this
Well, thanks for
information
inviting me. I appreciate it.
with us. So, we'd love to have you back if you're willing sometime. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Listen, everybody,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much for tuning in. Sissy, Philip, Jam, appreciate you participating in this event. Until the next time, everybody,
Thank you,
make it a
guys.
great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.